Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Reyna.
And a high shot deep into left. That baby's got a chance. It's gone. Home run. Randy Reyna with that deep count. His 6th home run of the year. 363 feet.
Last night and get a big win, a big dub. Their 5th in a row, a 5-1 win over the crappy White Sox. Who cares? 5 wins in a row puts you over 500. And the City Connects are undefeated, baby. Undefeated. Welcome into a Wednesday edition, Hump Day edition of the JP Peterson Show. We thank you so much for joining us. 2 hours of Tampa Bay-centric sports talk. You get it every Monday through Friday. And every Wednesday, the great Peter Blake joins me from the sports web. What's up, brother?
What's going on, buddy? Happy
Hump Day.
There you go.
Yes, let's do that.
Yes, absolutely. Rays winning 5 in a row, even though it's over the Mets and the White Sox.
Let's go.
Wearing those jerseys. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Keep on wearing those jerseys. Zach Eflin, great last night. I mean, everything went in their direction. We'll see if they can pull off the sweep, which they should. And it just shows you, JP, right? The ebbs and flows of this team, right? And then also less Siri, more DeLuca.
Yes, addition by subtraction.
Yeah.
And addition by addition. Yeah, just putting him in the lineup and taking Siri out. That's like putting Graham Barton into the lineup and taking Hainsey out. So, yeah, it's when you get a plus player for a minus player, you get plus. I think that's how the Florida State math works out. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, you understand the concept, right?
Yeah, I get it. I definitely get it.
Yeah. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal when you got some guy that's killing you in the lineup and killing you in the field and killing you in the culture of your team. And you add a guy that's a plus on all those numbers. Well, then, yeah, it's a dramatic improvement. And that's what the Rays have been really benefiting from, and of course the City Connect uniforms. It's the vibe. I mean, so much, and I joke about that, but so much of baseball, so much of sports is about confidence, right? Mm-hmm. And you get a little vibe going. The standing ovation for Reyna. We talked about that last week. That was a kind of an organic thing that Rays fans came up with and spread the word over all the different sports shows, including ours. We appreciate that. And the fans came out, gave Randy a standing ovation, and look what's happened. He's hit, 3 home runs since then?
Yes.
3 home runs in 5 games. Yeah, that makes a difference. That's the fans making a difference right there. That's the fans really making a difference. And it's been great because, and of course, it's, we could talk about the unis, we could talk about confidence, but it's good players. Mm-hmm. It's good players. DeLuca's a good player. Josh Lowe is a good player. And when you insert those guys, make the lineup thicker, everybody benefits. And they've been playing better baseball. Yes, it's nice that the crappy Mets and the White Sox have come in right at the right time. But, hey, you play the schedule that's put before you, and you go out and you beat them. And that's exactly what they did. Yeah. So kudos to the Rays. And I believe we have the Paredes home run. And correct me if I'm wrong, but did this one go to left field?
It did. It went to left field again. Yeah, he's
really?
He's a dead pull hitter. Here we go.
Greatest match against the new pitcher. It's Brad Keller.
And there's a shot high and deep to left. That baby is gonna go. Home run to left by Paredes. That's number 8. On the 9th pitch of the at-bat, Paredes unloads, and the Rays now lead 5-0.
So there you go. And listen, when you score 5 runs, usually more times than not for this team and for every Major League Baseball team, but especially for the Rays,
mm-hmm.
you win. That's how it goes. I mean, baseball is such a simple game, right? You hit the ball, you filled the ball. What was that line?
You pitched the ball, right?
Ball. Right, exactly. It's just that easy. And you score 5 runs, and when you're able to do that, more times than not, you win.
Yeah, and Eflin was great last night. Goes 7 strong innings, the big man. He's been fantastic. So yeah, the Rays are looking good right now. Now here comes Murderer's Row here in a little bit. Now you got the next few series against the American League East, which historically the Rays have done well against. So not like, even though these are better teams, I don't think the Rays fear them. But look, it comes down to pitching, hitting, and fielding. Caballero with a couple of errors last night, a couple of good plays. He's kind of feast or famine at shortstop. I would like a little bit more consistency there, right? But you can't really argue with what he's brought to the team. And they're starting to, guys are starting to get fit into their spots, right? Into where they should be playing, where they should be in the order. And this is a hell of a team, as Thomas Casper said. Franco too stupid to settle. Yeah, this is the Franco thing. It's like, what are you doing, bro? Like, I don't know what the hell's going on there. Maybe this is what it's about. Can you imagine having Wander Franco on this team and playing shortstop, and hey, we'll put Caballero somewhere else and give him even more depth.
Yeah, defensively, Caballero is terrible. He's terrible. He's not very good. I mean, he'll make some good plays, but more times than not, he's not the typical shortstop for the Rays. But you're exactly right. You add another bat to this lineup, and more than likely, you don't have the trouble that you had the first of the season. Now, maybe that's just me.
I agree. No, I mean, no question about it.
Right. So it's a shame in all facets, because he's the face of your franchise. All these allegations, it's so bad for the Rays. It's so bad for Major League Baseball. It's even worse for Franco. And again, the longer this goes, and it looks like it's going to continue to go, all this stuff is going to come out, and it's going to be uncomfortable to talk about, because it's pretty damning, to say the least.
Yeah, this was from the Topkin article yesterday. There's a published report, Dominican newspaper El Nuevo Diario reported late Monday that Franco will be accused of commercial sexual exploitation of a minor, stemming from an alleged relationship that started in December of 2022, and then 14-year-old girl. Franco was 21 at the time. Previous reports by the AP said Franco would be accused of sexual and psychological abuse and abduction, and the accusations of money laundering and sexual exploitation have been dismissed. In January, after Franco was released from jail. Franco has not played, blah, 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 blah. And a judge in early April denied Franco's request to suspend his monthly check-ins with the court and return the roughly $33,000 he had to deposit to obtain conditional release after being detained. I believe, or he's still making his salary. Yeah, he's taken off the roster and placed on administrative leave on March 28th, and the Rays are paying him his $2 million salary. So he's got, money to spend on legal. And then he hired an attorney who was an ex-judge, who I'm guessing, is a fixer, and then fired him. So it's a mess. It is an absolute mess for him. And, I would say he's never gonna play again, but we've seen too many times that guys do come back from stuff like this. And, again, I hate to say it, it is ugly, and but I'm just talking about it from the baseball standpoint.
Yeah.
This is a franchise that just really, it's hard to overcome when you invest so much in a player like that, and you set up your franchise around his talents, in who you trade for and what you draft, and you figure out down the line in terms of payroll. Everything centers around that piece, and it all just goes up in smoke, which is why character matters. This is why, when you're looking at guys and drafting guys and developing guys, and clearly the Rays saw warning signs of a guy that was unhinged in some ways, had to went to the media first to try to get him to straighten out his, being a bad teammate, then suspended him. And it was, and that was the stuff on the surface. And this was the stuff that was going on underneath that we didn't know, that maybe the Rays did know. And which was always weird to me, why they would come to the media basically and say this guy's being a bad teammate. I mean, that's just weird. But now you look back on it and you say, oh, well, they probably knew this stuff was going on behind the scenes, because some of it was already out on social media.
Right.
And by the way, how do you get charged? And I don't know the ins and outs of this, but we do know the mom admitted to extorting him, like admitted to pimping out her daughter.
Right.
And I'm like, and I'm not covering for him at all, but I'm like, how is there exploitation when the parent is the one doing the exploiting? It's bizarre. Anyway, let's just talk about the Rays on the field. And it's just a shame that you don't have that talent in the middle of your lineup playing defense. It's a complete program changer. It's a complete franchise changer. And now they got to work around it. And that's tough. That's tough for a team like the Rays. But they're doing the best they can. And, right now, barely over 500 with all the injuries they've had, probably not too bad. You're probably sitting there at the Rays and said, this could be a hell of a lot worse. This could be a hell of a lot worse. The numbers would suggest it could be a hell of a lot worse in terms of the record. So you're over 500 now, finish the sweep of the White Sox, and then you get into the meat, and you feel like you're ready because you're starting to get guys back. You're starting to get some depth. You're starting to feel like, the bullpen is still very iffy, and they've got to solidify that. But other than that, you kind of like where they are.
Yeah, and you got some news here coming out this morning from Mark Topkin of the Tampa Bay Times. Taj Bradley expected to join the Rays for the weekend series versus the Yankees, with Pepio likely headed to the IL. Rehab updates, of course, on Brandon Lau, Fairbanks, Aranda, Baz. They all could be coming back here in the next couple of weeks or couple of months, especially Baz. And, that's what you look at. Baz and Springs in the next couple of months when you need them the most. Let's face it. How many injuries did this Rays rotation have last year? So if you're going to get reinforcements and then you're not sure how long Pepio is out for, x-rays were negative. It's disappointing, but you get him back, you get Bradley back, and then you start to talk about how, a weakness to start the season is now a strength.
Yeah, and some of these arms, we talked about this a little bit yesterday with Steve Carney, some of these arms are going to have to figure out how to get them to the bullpen.
Yeah.
And the Rays have been great with that. Kyle Snyder will figure that out. But just getting these arms back, and we'll figure out where Jeffrey Springs and Rasmussen and some of these other guys, as they come back, fit in. Taj Bradley, Shane Baz, these are arms. They're all starters, but you can find a way to get guys back into the bullpen and figure out, slot them in. And I trust Kyle Snyder and Kevin Cash will do a great job at that. So there's hope on the way. There's hope on the way. Little update on the Rays Stadium. There's an article in the Times about how the city is counting on a 7% annual growth to pay off the debt for this Rays Stadium. And the numbers that are in that story still confound me, how they keep talking about these numbers that the city's going to spend, completely ignoring the interest cost, which basically doubles the numbers. So I'm not sure why that those are not accurate numbers, but whatever. And now we have Alan Delisle, who's a former city administrator, did a little a PowerPoint presentation with the guys from nohomerun.com. It's up on the web right now. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I kind of got a preview of it. And it just kind of really details why this is such a boondoggle for Stu Sternberg. And again, people are like, well, why are you against this, JP? Why don't we just get the stadium done? I said, because I don't want to do it the wrong way. I don't want to make the same mistakes that Miami made. Because if you do that, in 10 years, the Rays will be gone or less, because you still have the same shitty attendance. I think they're bottom 3 now. Same crappy attendance. You're still going to have the same bad location. The same problems still exist. From you won't be able to get the high luxury box sales and premium seating sales from the corporations, because most of those corporations are in Tampa, and during the week you can't give those tickets away. So half of your investment is a complete waste. And companies aren't going to do that when they can spend their money on Buccaneers, on Lightning, on other things that their clients will be able to enjoy. That's always been a huge part of the problem here. So such a major chunk of revenue, especially in these new stadiums, luxury boxes and the premium seating. But these companies got to be able to get bang for the buck out of it. And that's always been a huge problem with the location of Tropicana Field, because those Monday through Thursday games, you're paying $20,000 per game for a box, and you can't give the tickets away. That happened in the infancy of this franchise, and that's a huge problem, because there aren't enough businesses at Hub and St. Pete that are going to be able to do, because you got to be able to, give those tickets away to your clients, and they can at a moment's notice go to the games, and you're getting use out of the box from your clients. It's, early on you'll be able to do that, but in the long run, they know that that's not going to be a thing. So these are the huge endemic problems with the location. And, the whole idea of what it does to St. Pete's economy and the taxes and what they can do later on down the line, how hamstrung they're going to be, which is all detailed in this presentation. If you're a St. Pete or Pinellas voter, you got to watch this and talk to your, councilman or your commission member, because it's grotesque. It's grotesque how much money the city is losing and just handing over to Stu Sternberg. And with no, as far as, that last report, there's nothing in his contract that compels him to stay for 30 years. So he could just take the huge windfall and hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate and just, go and leave anyway, or sell the team and not do half of the stuff that he wants to do. And the penalties for doing things like the affordable housing, $25,000 a unit, that's a joke. If you just say, well, we're going to build whatever we can get for it instead of affordable housing, you can eat the 25,000 because you're going to make 200, 300, 400,000 more on the sale of the property. It's just from a real estate standpoint, it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And there's so much more that they could do with this property that could raise hundreds of millions of dollars for affordable housing, the Black community, the gas plant district, if you did it the right way. So that's the political side of it. But for me, it's about baseball, and we don't want to make the same mistakes that Miami made and put it in a terrible location and spend $2.4 billion of public money to do it. It's a disaster. So that's why we care, because we want the Rays here long term, not just for another 10 years in a bad deal that just benefits Stu Sternberg. All right. Do we have any other stuff for the Rays we wanted to get to?
Besides that, right now, you have to say, and I'm going to put it out there, throw the question out, because you got to rev me up here. The phone lines are open. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Are you feeling more confident with this Rays team? Have you calmed down? Because social media was ablaze here the last couple of weeks with the Rays. They're not going to compete. They're in last place. Or is it the fact, well, they played the Mets, they played the White Sox, which I think is a cop-out. I get it. But you still have to play your schedule. And just a couple of weeks ago, right, you got swept by the Chicago White Sox. Now you're taking care of business. So do you feel more confident? And what is the biggest reason for this Rays turnaround?
DeLuca.
Is it
the
DeLuca?
porn stash of Johnny DeLuca.
Yeah.
Come on.
Is it the uniform? Should they continue to wear the uniforms here?
You can't take those off.
Right. Should it be less Siri and more DeLuca? Again, open phone line 727-255-0391. It's a JP.
I'll say this.
Yes.
I still think this is an 85 win team.
Okay.
I still think it's an 85 to 88 win team because the lineup is still, Johnny DeLuca is not going to average an RBI per at bat. Newsflash.
Right.
That's not going to happen. Rosarena is getting hot. That's great. You got to get him back. Without him, you're literally a last place team if he's not popping. So getting him back is huge. But DeLuca's going to cool off. Will this lineup still have enough length to it? Are they defensively? They're the third worst team in baseball.
Yeah,
the Rays can't win that way. The Rays cannot win being that bad defensively.
Nope.
And that's something that shows up every day at the ballpark. So that's a huge concern. The bullpen has been a disaster. Will they be able to fix it? I have faith in Kyle Snyder that they can, but they pull off miracles every year with that. They take a bunch of nobodies or even, guys that have good arms, use them up quite a bit, but they find a way. But they haven't found a way this year. That's been a problem. So these are huge systemic problems that they got to fix. And over 162 games, is this going to pan out? I just don't see them being good enough this year unless, Johnny DeLuca hits 375 and, averages an RBI per at bat. It's not happening. So I'm still in the 85 to 88 win category. I don't think they're getting to 99. and I think it's going to be tough for them to make the playoffs this year. That's where I'm still at. What do you think?
I said 95 at the beginning of the season. Maybe I'm an eternal optimist, which I usually am about the Tampa Bay teams here. But the Rays, they always make you look like a liar because somehow, some way they figure this out. And you put it out there. Yep. They find a way. They will find a way somehow. Zach Littell, who knew about him? And he's turned into a pretty damn good pitcher. This pitching staff is not bad. Zach Eflin, if he's giving you 7 innings of a quality start, only giving up 6 hits and 1 run, you can win games like that. So, and then once again, Josh Lowe, to me, Josh Lowe could be the key. He could be an upcoming superstar at this point. He can do it all if he can stay healthy. I think this lineup is good enough. Their guys just got to start hitting. They got to start doing what they're doing. And, the last couple of weeks here, they were pressing, it seemed like. This last week, it seems like everything is falling into place. And once again, Siri, to me, as talented as he can be, we saw it last year with him, hitting dingers and somewhat stealing bases and making plays. His last daisical effort, to me, is just troubling. And you see why this lineup is so much better without him, because you're for me, when with him this year, the big key was get on base, use your speed. And every time he's up at bat, he's trying to hit the ball at the ballpark. Exactly. Look how much better this lineup is without him. So,
and that's selfish stuff. The series all about himself. He wants to hit bombs. He wants to pimp. He wants to have a different hair color. He wants to this. Is
it time to move on?
But play baseball the right way.
Is it time to move on from Cisco? Is it time to move
on
from
him? Yes, it's been time.
Right.
We got Johnny DeLuca. We got better outfielder options. We got Josh Lowe. Yeah. Palacios can play all over the place. You got Rosario. I don't think he's a good fit at this point, and I think he kind of rubs a few people the wrong way too in that clubhouse. So let's move on. Let's move on.
And I'll give you another name right now that nobody's really talking about that's in the future. Not only those pitchers coming back and giving them that extra momentum there in those dog days of summer, right? But how about Junior Caminero? Nobody's talking about him, but eventually he's going to be a part of the plans of this Rays team.
Oh, everybody's talking about him.
Well, maybe talking about him the next couple of months because you see the talent there. There's a reason why the Rays didn't trade him in the first place. Maybe he's also a big-time key. So,
he's the fourth best prospect in baseball.
Right. They still got some cards to play here. They still got some aces. Yeah. So I'm not ready to rule this team out.
Okay. All right.
Take it for what it's worth. I thought the Bucks would win 10 last year. They're a one freaking game away from doing that. If they're able to close out Houston, they should have beaten Houston. You score 37 points and you give up 39. Okay, that's your 10th win right there. So take it for what it's worth. But I think the Rays will always, they always prove you as a liar there when they say 85, 88. You roll.
All right. We'll see if they make me listen. Every time I rip on the Rays for anything, they go out and prove me wrong. So.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. I'll take the hit for it if that's what it takes for them to get on a winning streak. I'll be happy to take the heat, people.
Yes,
bring it. That's all good.
That's it.
I so funny. I was getting when I put out that tweet last week, which was completely misunderstood. Love the unis, love City Connect. I was questioning the merits of pandering to the skater crowd and the underground art crowd, who, I love what they do. It's all good. It's fantastic. I was a skater boy way back in the day. And when we had the really thin skateboards, baby, I don't know how the hell I rode those things.
I didn't try. I fell down too.
I love that culture, but it's not a culture that embraces baseball.
Right.
They look at baseball. It's like, you old farts, you stodgy old.
There's a reason why they say a starving artist, because
exactly they buy election, but that was my point. It's like, come on, right. And I kind of had a little bit of a nuanced argument of what they're really doing, and a lot of it's a diversion, while they reach around to your back pocket and take hundreds of millions of dollars out. But don't you love the City Connect uniform? Yes, glitz and glow. Ooh, look at this shiny toy. Don't look at what we're doing. Don't look at the money we're stealing from you. So I get it. So that's my point. But I love the unis and I love everything else. And I threw a wet blanket on it. People are like, oh, dude, people don't like you anymore. I'm like, listen, Chris Thomas and Big Dog told me a long time ago, Don't be afraid to be disliked, because people like to listen. Hell, Rush Limbaugh made a freaking historic Hall of Fame career out of it, right?
Yes. Howard Stern.
Howard Stern. Yeah,
yeah.
Don't do it to be hate. Don't, try to be hated. But be honest to yourself.
Yes,
If you see things, say things. Have the courage to step up, because people will respect that, even if they don't believe you or if they don't agree with you. Right? They'll respect the fact that you take an opinion, you have an opinion, and you'll speak truth to power. And back in the day, we could all disagree on things and still be friends. And, I realize these days that you have to nuke everybody that you disagree with, which is ridiculous. It's immature. It's emotionally immature.
Yeah.
People should grow up a little bit when it comes to that. I can disagree with people all day long and still sit down and have a beer with them. That's fine. You're not impugning them as a pure person just because you don't agree with their politics or the way they see certain things that are going down. Maybe open your mind and instead of trying to fight back and yell and scream, open your mind a little bit and learn. That's what I try to do. I mean, for a lot of times at first blush, I'm like, that's stupid. And then you listen to maybe a nuanced argument, and you go, oh, okay, I get that. I kind of get that. That's interesting. So whatever, it's okay. We're gonna soldier on and try to be as honest with you people as we possibly can, not bend the knee to corporate media and other powers that be. And hopefully you guys like the show and you keep listening. That's what we're trying to do.
As the great Steve would say, right? The big dog. This is not Goober Radio here,
right.
Okay? We don't work for the Rays.
You gotta put your big boys pants on sometimes.
That's it.
We're not cheerleaders, right? We don't work for the Rays. No.
Right. Even though I got Bucks, all kinds of Bucks flags in the background and Tropicana. I got to get some lightning stuff. That's what I got to get next. I don't know why I don't have that. I got
I'll send you some lightning stuff. I got plenty of lightning stuff.
I need some. That's what I need.
Yeah.
I think I got to write that down for you.
Yeah, I write that down for me so I remember to send it to you. Absolutely. Speaking of which, I had to send you 3 free packs of Hydrate Heroes.
Whoa.
Yes, easy. You're going to get it. It's free for you. TryHydrateHeroes.com. Go to the website, Try Hydrate Heroes, and that's HEROES, HYDRATE. It says right up there, right up at the top. You can see it. Mm-hmm. Hydrate Heroes. And tryhydrateheroes.com. They'll send you a free 3-pack, and you will love this stuff. 8 times the benefits, folks. All the different electrolytes that you'll have in a hydration drink, plus amla fruit, vitamin D, tons of stuff that's got a little mushroom blend in it too.
Wow.
That will help you with inflammation. It's helped me tremendously with my joint pain. So Hydrate Heroes, try hydrateheroes.com. Get a free 3-pack. Let me know what you think about it, because it's really, really good stuff.
All right.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, TJ Reeves is going to join us. He's got a great story. Last night, the ESPN made a horrible, horrible mistake with their hockey games. We'll talk about that. And he's got a story about the infamous Tiger Woods News Channel 8 story back in the early 2000s, which I was a big part of. So we'll talk about that, Buccaneers, and all kinds of fun stuff. We're presented by Hydrate Heroes and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. If you're in an accident, go with the local folks who know what they're doing and will represent you vigorously. JeevesLawgroup.com. Back in 3. JP here from my friends at your local Synovus Bank. And I do mean friends, and I do mean local. One of the local managers in Tampa is John Acosta, big fan of the show, and I've known him for over 40 years. He's been in local banking since 1983. You talk about developing relationships. You don't stick around for that long unless you're doing things the right way and have a great reputation. And that's the focus company-wide at Synovus. Big enough to handle any complex international transaction, but small enough to answer the phone when you have an urgent question about your business or personal account. And for personal accounts, they have a very easy app that works great. You can do everything online. And for large or small businesses, you will get that personal touch and services to help build your business, taking your dreams and aspirations from the whiteboard to reality. We can make that happen. Let us show you how. For a get acquainted meeting to open a business or personal account, just call John or go to Synovus.com to find out where your local branch is. Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset. So make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance, because if you get sued in this over litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative Charity is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property, or try to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group, because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com. or call 813-485-6808.
With over 34 years of producing small and large events, Extravaganza Productions is truly a Tampa treasure when it comes to creating some of the very best events in Tampa and all across the United States. I've worked with them at the Florida Sports Hall of Fame inductions, the Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-sized event spread across all of Tampa Bay. They are the very best, from small meetings to exceptionally large corporate conferences to galas, fundraisers, sporting events, grand openings, whatever you want. Team EPI has an extremely talented staff of designers and show producers that develop extraordinary events fueled by the visions of their clients. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. And I think I have aired Peter Blake. I forgot to send an invitation to my good friend TJ Reeves, who's joining
All right.
us. So let me do
ahead.
that.
Okay. Well,
I got that under control right here. You regale the folks with some great information before TJ comes on.
Well, absolutely, guys. If you want to join the show here after
There you
TJ,
go.
we can't. I mean, I guess we could take some questions if TJ's on. I think it's a great thing. If you want to ask the great TJ
Sure.
question, I call him the human lottery ticket. Why? Because right there got me credentialed to get that Rolex from Jake Paul. And also, first baseball game, won it off his radio show when I was about 16, 17 years old. True story. He'll tell you about it. 727-255.
Really?
Yes. True story. 727-255-0391. Again, 727-255-0391. He was doing a show on 820 The Team, March Madness. I called in, did an update. 17 years old at the time.
Nice.
Nervous, right? And then I win tickets to the Legends game.
Nice.
Okay, so if
Rick
you're
is already firing in with some great quips today.
slump buster, there you go.
Maybe JP is the Ray slump buster.
Well, I get a chance to go to this Legends game, and you have a
Right.
home run derby contest. And at the time, I thought it was George Brett that would win it, but I had no idea about George Foster. Well, I get George Foster as the all-time guy, the veteran.
Yes.
He wins the home run derby contest, and guess what? I get a chance to go to my first baseball game, which is legit a all-star game in Texas in
Holy crap.
1996.
Wow.
Arlington, Texas. Yep.
They gave you the full triple. Here's the man.
Yes.
Right there.
It's the
Bring
man
him
right
in.
there. Yeah, I got to bring him in.
There we go.
Go ahead and get that comment off there. We
had to put that one up there. Rick says Franco will never be back in the majors. He likes it in the minors. Damn, Rick.
You
bring me on that way.
Yes, I always tell that story, and I will say he's the human lottery ticket because it's a true story.
Peter finished the story. He didn't know who George Foster was, which again, if you're old school baseball, you know Cincinnati Reds, big red machine, big home run hitters. But for all time, you know who George Foster is now from the Legends game at Al Lang Stadium in St. Pete.
Yeah, because the guy leans over to me, and I go, man, I didn't get George Brett, so I think I'm going to lose. And he goes, no, you got George Foster. You're going to win. And sure enough, Foster, I think, hits 10 home runs in that home run derby contest when they used to have it at Al Lang Stadium.
So it was like softball or baseball?
No, this is baseball. They would play a Legends game with older players and celebrities like in the late 80s and the early 90s at Al Lang in spring training. And so literally he's talking about you would have George Brett there. I'm trying to remember who else. Doug DeCinces, the former California Angel. This is before Brooks Robinson. There's legendary players there. Tug McGraw's pitching, Tim McGraw's dad. This is before the Rays existed. This is while the Cardinals and the Orioles, I think, were the spring training teams using Al Lang. So they would play a Legends baseball game with Hollywood celebrities.
Nice.
That would come in and would play this game. And so
why don't we do that anymore?
I'm with you. And so my man sitting right here on the JP show, Peter Blake, ends up getting George Foster across the finish line to win the home run derby. And this just wasn't any prize, as you have shared. Share the prize again. If you didn't share it a second ago, share the prize again that you got for that.
All expense tickets to not only the All-Star game there in Arlington, Texas, which, by the way, was like 110 at the time, but you're used to the Florida heat. My first time on a plane, all expense paid, and also the hotel stay. So
never been to a Major League Baseball game.
Never got on an airplane.
Never been on an airplane.
Oh, my God.
All expenses with his dad to go to the baseball All-Star game.
Yep.
And I have to confess, we gave away trips and contests all the time to winners, and I didn't really know anything or remember anything about this until about 10 or 15 years later. He tracks me down and finds me and says, I have to tell you this story, the story he just told you, which is incredible about how we interacted for the first time and what he got to do. You should have taken me or JP.
Memory. That's right.
But no, you took your dad. You took your late father, and what a memory. Father and son. We love it.
Yes, absolutely. And it was about
sweating your ass off in Arlington Stadium.
It was 25 years later. I was actually 25 years later in the press box. I say, TJ, I said, you're never gonna guess who I am. And I'm telling him, and he, at that point, he remembers.
I don't think it was 25. Don't make me out to be that old. It was probably like about 15 to 20 years later, not 25 years later. When we're talking about
details. Come on, man.
You're trying to make me feel older than I already am.
While we're reminiscing about old stories, let's get into this, TJ. So last night you hit me up with a text because I didn't see this. I wasn't watching the game because I'm flipping back between hockey and basketball, and Ashley's watching.
Does Peter have any idea what's coming here? Did you prep him at all? Does he have any idea what's coming?
No idea.
Peter, on a scale of 10, what you're about to, and for the audience, what you're about to hear is the 100% gospel truth. It is classic, and it's a 14 on a scale of 10. Am I exaggerating, JP?
It might be a tad overhyped, but what the hell? It's
just because I don't know that you know my part of what you're about to tell.
No,
tell the story.
So last night you were watching it, so you tell this part. The hockey game, they're about to go into overtime with Rangers and Carolina.
Hurricanes, right? Carolina Hurricanes.
And who was on the power play?
So the Rangers are on the power play in the final minute of a tie game. At home, bananas. The Garden is rocking. 3-3. It's a 3-3 game. If they win, they're up 2-0. We might have mentioned they're on the power play with a chance to score.
Yeah.
I might have mentioned, and you might have said it, there's under a minute to go in the game. And all of a sudden, the screen goes black for a second, and then the open. Welcome, everybody, to Dallas, Texas for game number 1 of the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche. Peter, good time for your sound effect. Where's your sound effect?
Well, hold on.
Yeah, please. Yeah. What are we doing? And I mean, not for 5 seconds, but for literally 15 seconds, they're doing the cold open. Hey, everybody, welcome. We're getting ready for game 1. The Dallas Stars have won a dramatic game 7 to get to this point. And I and everybody else including half of New York, is going,
what the hell just happened?
Where is the game? Where is the power play in the final minute of regulation? It is off. All right, finally, somebody, Bristol, Connecticut, ESPN headquarters, New York,
After
somebody
the
dropped the
10,000th
donut
phone
in
call.
master control.
Yeah.
Somebody put the ham sandwich down and hit the button.
They've had a lot of cutbacks at ESPN.
And switched back. To this second, I don't know what the explanation is as to why that happened, as to why the feed was cut.
It's some guy that's supposed to be doing that stuff that's probably third week on the job or third day on the job, screwed it up. And
a colleague of all of ours,
days.
Shout out if he's seeing this to my man Greg Blackburn. He said, "You want to know what big part of the problem is? The Orange Julius workers are now working master control." And there's an '80s mall reference.
They've also got the nuclear codes.
Yes,
believe it or
the
not.
Orange Julius worker is in charge of the switch.
Yes.
Okay. So they get the game
The Orange
back.
Julius workers, by the way, are flying your planes.
Oh.
They're fixing your planes.
Are they running your country?
They're running
All
your
right,
country.
So back to this story, though. We get back to the game, and the Rangers in the final 20 seconds don't score. We go to overtime. We didn't miss the game when it goes.
Scored?
Oh, my God, yeah, because, again, it was off for not just a few seconds. It was off for like
hiding.
17 or 18 seconds. So I immediately bring up the Heidi thing. I put it out there. I text you. I text a bunch of people. I put it out on social media, and you come right back strong with Channel 8, News Channel 8, your former employer, and the Tiger Woods debacle that made national news. We're coming up on the 24th anniversary, 2000 United States Open, June of 2000. So you pick up the story because Tiger Woods has destroyed the field.
Yeah,
he's winning by more than 10 shots, and you pick up the story on what happened.
The only drama left is he going to break the U.S. Open record?
Right.
So he's on 18 at Pebble freaking Beach. I believe he hits, like a 230-yard 3-iron to like 15 feet. He's got to make eagle. I believe that was. If not, I'm overhyping it.
He's going to smash the all-time U.S. Open scoring record
to set the record under par of the U.S. Open. It's the only drama left. And I'm back in the sports hub at News Channel 8 at our new, swanky on the river place. And I'm watching the network feed. I've got the network feed on one side, which is a direct feed, and then I've got the News Channel 8 feed on the big TV. So it's different, right? So I have the direct feed. So I'm looking at the direct feed. I'm looking at watching both, and we're like, me and Dave Cook are like sitting there. Oh, he's gonna make this putt, and all of a sudden I look up to my right, and there's the infamous Mace Michaels. Great dude, love Mace Michaels, but just like a real, kind of a small, diminutive guy, and he's like, breaking news, and I'm like, what are we doing?
What?
I'm like. Did we just break away from this to do this breaking? Well, I'm like, what the hell is the breaking news? And he's like, we have a water spout in Tampa Bay, in the bay, and it's this frozen picture. It's not even video of a water spout. It's not like we got an Eagle 8 up and we're like,
that is not touching anything. By the way,
and at this point, it's 25 minutes old, and everybody else has come on and done it. And so I'm looking back and forth, but I'm just yelling into the newsroom, go back to golf.
Okay.
Go back to golf.
I am great. As you know, I'm great at remembering these things. And you have described this to me before. So I'm going to refresh you that your phones, 2 of them in the sports office, were both ringing. And suddenly you can hear every phone out in the newsroom ringing. Every phone everywhere is ringing. And you told me you picked up a phone with an angry, vulgar-laced tirade. Dave Cook, picked up the phone, and you both said, okay, we're trying to fix it, and you hung up, and then the phones are immediately ringing again.
Oh my
and
God.
You're picking it up again.
And you non-stop
as you told me,
hours.
You told me you walked out of the newsroom with every phone at every desk ringing and said, what did we just do? Because you're trying to figure it out also.
Back to golf. Go back to golf.
All right.
Finally, after he gets done with the spiel for about a minute, and by the way, we're as soon as this putt's over, they're doing an interview with Tiger Woods, and we're going to local news. So we're like 3 minutes away from actual local news. And so I run in, and I'm yelling at the at the master control. I'm like, yo, you go back to golf. So we finally go back to golf.
We go back to golf, and Tiger's doing this, everybody. Tiger's doing this. We've missed the putt. Thank you. Give me the trophy. Wow. We've missed the putt. It has been hided because of a water spout. All right,
only in Tampa. And only in Tampa.
So
by
this
the way,
is where
Dan Bradley. Dan, this is another aside.
Oh, I'm coming to that right now.
Okay.
I'm coming to that right now. So your news director is Dan Bradley, and you can speak to good, bad, indifferent, or whatever. But this is classic.
Great man. Great
and
man.
I don't know.
I
don't know that. Well, get ready. I don't know that this has ever happened before or since. But he on Sunday night on his night off makes a beeline for Channel 8, correct?
Yes.
And begins to answer the phone calls that are coming in. By the hundreds, there are calls coming in.
Yep.
The reason I know this is I called because I'm doing the 5-day-a-week sports radio show in the morning on WQYK on 1010 The Team. Mm-hmm. So I call. He answers the phone as, this is Dan Bradley, news director, Channel 8. I said, Dan, this is TJ Reeves from WQYK from Sports Radio 1010 The Team. I know who you are. Dan, you know why I'm calling? Yes, I know why you're calling. I said, what is the official explanation as to why Tiger Woods' momentous putt was taken off the air? Because I have to talk about this on the radio tomorrow. What's the official explanation? I exaggerate you not. The exact quote from Dan Bradley is, the explanation is a stupid person did a very stupid thing that they're never, ever going to do again. I paused for a second and I said, Dan, that's the explanation? He says, yes. I said, am I allowed to use that on the air? He says, yes. I'm like stunned on the other end of the phone because he didn't cover it as, weather's a serious thing in Tampa Bay.
Dan's an honest guy, man.
So pick it up from there because he was there in your newsroom Sunday night, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
He wasn't there when it went down.
But after that, he was there answering the phone over and over again from the angry masses. The news director was taking all the heat, taking all the hits.
Yes, he was.
Oh, my God.
And I didn't find out this till later. You know where he was? He was actually at Innisbrook, and they had just finished their round of golf.
Ironically.
But who was he with? All of the news directors from Media General and all of the general managers and all of the presidents. They were all sitting around after their corporate round of golf and their corporate weekend in Tampa, and they're all sitting around watching News Channel 8. We break away. So the entire company, the president, everybody was watching this debacle.
Now,
that's where he was, and then he jumped in his car and drove to the station.
He got to the station. All right, more on this. It became national news. If you Google Dan Bradley, Mace Michaels, Tiger Woods, it comes up immediately. JP Peterson
was quoted in there as well.
It comes up immediately on Google with you quoted.
Yeah.
And there's stories about this, about what happened, about taking it off the air. I looked, the television rating in the 7 Eastern time hour for the golf was a 12.2. There were over 17 million people watching nationwide as Channel 8 took that off the air.
And that equates to about
a further update. Mace Michaels is still in the business, which I can't believe. I know you touted him.
It wasn't his fault. Well, what happened, and this is kind of also all sports fans will love this. So we've been in an age-old fight.
I can tell you what happened. The news director told me it was a stupid decision by a stupid person that they will never do again. What a quote!
Well, this is sports fans will love this part of it. So, and the girl that did it was our assistant news director at the time. I won't mention her name. She's a lovely person, absolutely lovely person. But she was always the person in the news in the meetings telling everybody that nobody cares about sports. So we need to cut their time. We need to cut the sports time because nobody cares about it. And she was the person that always, because I asked her, I said, why didn't you ask me? I would have told you what a good time to break away would have been. Just come consult me for 2 seconds. I would have said, this is a bad time. Why don't you wait about 45
This is a bad time. This is an all-time bad time.
I said, why didn't you come? She goes, because it just looked like a golf tournament. It was just
to show a 25-minute-old photo of a water spout. Okay,
and I said, do you think people care about sports now?
Oh,
She's like,
God.
Yeah. I think they do.
All right, pick this up because you guys ended up having to break in and apologize. Yes. That's in the news story where the anchor Yolanda Fernandez starts the apology, but then, and I still remember you doing this, she then turns to you. Like, you have to be the one to explain it.
They came to me and they said, we want you to go out there and do an apology. And I was like, whoa. I said, well, I'll be happy to do whatever you like, but maybe the news person should do the apology, throw it to me. I'll show the highlight and tell the people the significance of it. And then I'll throw it back to her to further apologize. And Dan was like, yeah, that sounds like a better idea. I'm like, let's do that. So I'm like, I'm not apologizing.
You're not falling on that grenade. I don't blame you. So, my friend, I don't want to accept that was 24 years ago this summer. June of 2000 is when that happened. But the point is, what happened with the Rangers hockey game last night happened even worse in the Tampa Bay market because it was gone. The Tiger Woods moment gone forever because you guys were doing this weather report for like over a minute. It was like a minute and a half. Where the whole drama's gone. And again, I exaggerate not that when they came back to the NBC footage, Tiger's like waving, tipping his cap, it's all over. And you had invested hours if you were a golf fan watching it. And it does say in the story, in the AP story that you're in, that Dan Bradley is in, over 3,000 calls got through on Sunday night and Monday morning to complain.
We were doing the 11 o'clock news. Like we were about to go out and do the 11. The phones were still ringing.
All of them.
Stop. This is 5 hours later. Wow. And they were still ringing nonstop. And because our phone system, you know, if one phone, if you don't pick up at the desk, it just keeps transferring to other phones and the newsroom.
I remember you telling me that.
Different phones.
You initially walked out and then you yelled out, "What did we do?" Because every phone everywhere is ringing. The master control room, the break room, every phone is ringing everywhere. And even 5 hours later, it was still all ringing.
And Mace took the heat for it. You know, he took the heat for it, which I'm not sure that was fair. Because
he is still doing the weather in Minnesota.
Is it Minnesota?
No, he's in Minnesota doing the weather. Yeah. A little different than the Tampa Bay climate to have to forecast.
All right, so we spent 20 minutes on that.
Oh my! But hey, where else but FanStream JP and the JP Peterson Show are you going to get something like that?
It's kind of nostalgia
because you lived it, and I partially lived it. And the news director statement for all time is the classic bulletin board statement.
And by the way, the All-Star game in Texas was 1995, not 96.
95, correct.
95, yes. And by the way, Mickey Mantle was talking during that week. And, of course, he passed away August of that year. I remember him talking before the All-Star game there. I mean, it was classic. I remember also Sammy Sosa not doing.
And if I'm not mistaken, that was the first year of the new ballpark, the ballpark in Arlington that replaced the Ranger Stadium. They've since replaced it again. So my man Peter Blake was there for all of that.
So they've done 2 stadiums in the time we can't do one.
Okay. Stories that we love.
All right. So what did we bring you on here to talk about? The Bucks, I think.
How do we top any of that? By the way.
Well, I think I was watching. Coach Bowles was on with Rich Eisen yesterday, and I think the NFL Network kind of gets the Bucks. ESPN, some of these others, just we've already been written off, which is fantastic. The more under the radar, the better. But I made this comment on Monday, and in the monologue is that the Bucks have done such an exquisite, I like that word, job of addressing all of their deficiencies. And, oftentimes, it takes, you see a team's like, okay, we need this, we need that, we need this. And it takes 2 years or 3 to do that. And I think they brought this timeline up, with the departure of Brady, right? And all the salary cap hell, the Bucks were supposed to go 3 years in the dark ages, 2 wins, 3 wins, 2 wins, eat all the money, be picking at the top of the draft. Hopefully you pick right and then you ascend. Well, we skipped all that crap. We went and got a quarterback in the free agency was the number 1 overall pick and is as good as, in my mind, as any of the 6 to 12 quarterbacks in the league. He's not top tier, I get it, but he's good enough. He's good enough to win to win a Super Bowl with everything right around him. Not saying he's carrying anybody to the Super Bowl. Not saying that, but I think he's good enough. And I think they went out and they got the center that they needed. They got interior line and free agency. They've addressed the secondary, which was drastically in need of improvement. And I think they've shored up every area that they could possibly. Now, with the exception of getting an elite pass rusher. They did not get an elite pass rusher, but my feeling is they've got enough in Cansey and Braswell and Gregory and the other stuff that they have. Maybe Kalen DeLoach is a piece there as well. Diaby accelerating his progress. So I think they're okay there. I think from a defensive standpoint, with the secondary improvements, you've dramatically improved that. So that's my spiel, TJ. At this point of the offseason, I think Jason Light and his team have freaking hit a home run. Grand slam as far as their offseason needs. Your thoughts?
Yeah, there needs to be accolades. And again, everybody's optimistic this time of year, but they have retooled off of a playoff year, off of a year in which you won the division and won a playoff game when that wasn't supposed to happen. And so I think there's a lot of excitement. Now, there's a counter argument that maybe you're going to be a little fat, happy, content, not as hungry, not out there with the attitude of let's show them, let's prove them all wrong when they're saying we're going to win 2 games or 3 games. So you got to worry about that complacency. But I don't think that's a problem with the veterans you have in that room. Not with them, not with him, not with Mike Evans and Tristan Wirfs and Levante David and even younger guys. I mean, Antoine Winfield's a leader in that room too.
Jordan Whitehead coming in.
Yes.
No.
So
culture's too good for that.
There is a lot to be excited about. And I know we got a long way until we get to July and training camp and the preseason. It's a long process to get to the year. And we do get a look at the schedule finally next week. My understanding is it was supposed to be this week, but they're constantly retooling that schedule now. And you've got international games to contend with, a couple of them in Germany,
which the Bucs might be part of again.
4 of them in England. You got 2 Christmas games that are going to be on a Wednesday. They're trying to figure all of that out with all their different permutations of schedules. And again, they do, just real quick, they do have a formula that they're trying to keep track of because bye weeks are important on, did you have the early bye week last year? Were you the middle of the bye week? Middle of the year bye week or the end of the year bye week. They got to keep track of that. They got to keep track of how many times have you played in a row on the road. Remember, the Bucs got caught with that with the whole England game in 2019 where they didn't play a game at Raymond James Stadium for literally like 7 weeks.
Right.
Because they considered the home game to be the game in England. So you've got all of those considerations into the pot. You've got TV entities that are screaming, NBC that wants primetime games, Monday Night Football that wants primetime games on which are the best ones. So allegedly the schedule is out next week, and I think that'll get everybody amped up on what do we see. And they also have to consider where are the division games and how many of your division games do you play early? Because everybody plays a division game on the final week. And most of the time, everybody plays 2 division games the final 2 weeks. Yeah. So you got to calculate all of that. It's not 100%.
I don't know how the hell you do it.
They have all of these different permutations and they have multiple people working on it. And again, I mentioned this, the TV networks have great influence on this too, on we want that game in prime time on this certain night.
And that's a problem because everybody wants the best games for their prime time slots. And now we have so many prime time slots.
Right.
We don't have enough good games. So we're getting dogs on Thursday. Hell, we're getting dogs on Sunday and Monday.
And even on Monday night, right, where they can flex out of it. But that's part of the complication. So get excited. Get excited for the schedule release next week. That should be a lot of fun with that. Other than that, I'm taking a little time and just kind of hanging back. So whenever you need me to pop on and tell stories and watch all of this, I think I made mention to you on the show last time. I'm headed on an Alaskan cruise with the wife, the twins, and the in-laws at the end of the month.
Wow.
So God help us all. We're going out to the Pacific Northwest and then to the Great White North of Alaska. Even in the summertime. This is fascinating while I just sell the twins out on the JP Peterson show. So I love my 2 to death.
Yes.
We don't own long sleeve clothes and pants that really fit. And I keep trying to prevail upon them as JP, you had to prevail upon your daughter a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You need to listen to me. You are not going to be in a bathing suit like the Caribbean cruise for 23 hours of the day. This is Alaska. It's going to be in the 50s if we're fortunate.
Yes.
You have to have layers, long sleeves, pants, So we're trying to get that done and get that executed so that we can go to Alaska at the end of the month. I'll report back at a later date on how all of that goes.
Yeah, just stay away from the mall. Stay away from the mall. Don't go there, especially International Plaza.
I think I got to go on the
Sticker
Bucks
shock.
cruise next year. I think that's what I got to do.
The Bucks cruise, right? But again, that's a Caribbean cruise.
Did you do the
That
Bucks
is-
cruise this year?
I did not. No, the Caribbean cruise though is a different animal. Warm weather, calm water. By the way, I have done the Alaska cruise
calm
before,
water. No
and
calm
you're
water.
doing a lot of this.
50-foot waves, bro.
Peter would not probably fare as well with that. And oh, by the way, 3 layers of clothes on when you're out on deck while the ship is going. Like
when you're on an MSC cruise, yes, MSC, and your captain decides to sail out into a freaking hurricane and gets shocked that, we can't dock at the Bahamas because 75-mile-an-hour winds. Oh, shocking development. It could have stayed in Miami.
So you just stayed out in the Atlantic away from the hurricane and just came on back.
No, we just went around the other side over to their private island, see if they can dock there. Oh, wow, it's still 65-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah, that was the forecast there.
Oh my God, I have
Jesus.
vertigo, and I can't imagine that trip. I would be sick.
Luckily, we had the drink package in the. We were in the. We had the private bar area. So the yacht.
I got a different.
So
I got a different.
We all posted up in that bar for about 12 hours, and we're like,
all right, yeah. See, I got a different scenario with the 15-and-a-half-year-olds and trying to legislate: do not consume alcohol while we're doing this. All right, so yes, I will report back on the cruise.
Get them the drink package. Do not do that.
No, not going to happen. Always good to be with you.
All right.
On all fronts and all stories, you guys be well. Keep knocking them dead.
Thanks, TJ.
We'll go from there.
All right. Appreciate you. There you go. The great TJ Reeves, the human lottery ticket, as I call him.
I hope you guys enjoy these nostalgic stories.
I'm telling you. Where do you get this at? Where do you get it at?
I mean, it's TJ and I have been involved in the local media here for a long, long time. So we have a treasure trove of great stories. So, and when it's, when we don't have Bucks games or Lightning games to talk about, we got to go back into the prize closet, so to speak. So hope you guys enjoy that stuff.
Well, by the way, I think they do because we got a total of 214 people watching right now here.
Yeah, just on this stream. Yeah.
On this stream right now, Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, all out there. And of course, open phone lines if you want to talk about anything having to do with the Tampa Bay Rays, the Tampa Bay Bucks, any stories that you can think of that you like to bring to the
Well, let's tease some stuff for the second hour.
Yeah. 727-255-0391. Yes.
Yeah. Open phone lines. Yeah. Come on, jump on. Did you see the Ric Flair video? Of course you did.
I did see the Ric Flair video. And do we want to come back to that?
Who was at fault? We'll debate that.
Okay.
Kucherov for MVP. He was named Hart finalist yesterday. They were talking about this last night on The Point. We'll give our thoughts on that. I think where we're headed with that.
Mm-hmm.
We got a couple of other things. I wanted to play some more of the Liam Cohen that we didn't play yesterday, Bucks offensive coordinator. So we'll get to that. I got more news on the Bucks or the Rays stadium. So we'll do that because there's a lot of important stuff coming up. And also another thing we want to talk about, Rachaad White. I hear people complaining about him that he's not an RB1. What is this ridiculousness, Peter Blake?
I have no idea. No idea.
All right. So we're going to get into all that on the other side. We were brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo was the director over there, was on with us yesterday. We were talking about all kinds of stuff, including hydration, and we are presented by Hydrate Heroes. So get 8 times the benefits with your hydration drink, not all the stimulants and the sugar, just 5 calories per servings, and it absolutely tastes fantastic. You can get a free 3-pack, he said, free 3-pack. Just go to tryhydrateheroes.com. You'll see my ugly face there. Tryhydrateheroes.com. Just fill out the form, give us your address and your email address, and we'll send it out to you. You can try it and give me some feedback. What do you think? Hydrateheroes.com. Back in 3. Stay with us.
This is The Strike. 102.5 WHPT, HD2 Sarasota, Tampa, St. Pete.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete. and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, you're going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show. It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
It's Diamond Days at the Gold and Diamond Source because April's birthstone is diamonds. As they take center stage, get up to 20% off all diamond jewelry. And our first-time buyers program will help you get educated about the 4 C's and all the different shapes and styles. And remember, you only want natural diamonds, folks. It takes billions of years to form a natural diamond. You don't want something that was made in a factory just a couple of weeks ago. And remember, your Golden Diamond Source diamond never loses its value. You can always trade up at the Golden Diamond Source for a bigger, better one. And they will spend the time to educate you about your diamonds and how to take care of them. And of course, consider the Golden Diamond Source to maintain and insure your jewelry. They can professionally clean it, check the settings, and make any necessary repairs to keep your jewelry in top condition. It's the 40th anniversary of the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this hump day, along with Peter Blake. We thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, the JP Peterson Show or FanStream Sports. And always you can listen on Spotify or on Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, you can listen to us there as well. Plus all over Facebook, right, Peter? We're on a WATB. We're all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And don't forget also on RHS TV.
Yes.
Find us there. That's
absolutely. All kinds of places to tune in and comment, and lots of comments out there that we haven't read yet that we're going to get to. So we appreciate the interaction here. And of course, the engagement. You guys make the show what it is. We don't have the engagement. We don't have the reactions and the comments. We're just basically talking to each other, which we can do. But we like to definitely have some participation from you here on this great show.
That is true. That is absolutely true. And speaking of Rashad White.
Yes.
Last year, he's definitely, people are talking about not RB1. He's tied for 7th in yards from scrimmage last year. Tied for 7th.
Yeah, they don't count the yards out of the backfield with catching the ball. That doesn't seem like it's an important facet of his game, but it really is an important facet of this game, and that's why you get so excited.
Yards are yards.
Yes, about Cohen's offense, because you can use that mismatch nightmare, if you will, with this running back coming out of the backfield. How many times have we talked about it with a running back? When you draft him, he has to do 3 things. He has to be able to pass protect, run with patience and vision, not put the ball on the ground, and also catch out of the backfield. That's why a lot of running backs are going out on 3rd down. You don't have to worry about that with White. That's the reason why he is so valuable to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, he was behind Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Breece Hall, Puka Nacua, James Cook, and Rashad White. Tied with Amon-Ra St. Brown, by the way, with 1,539 yards from scrimmage, over 90 per game. And again, with a very, very weak interior offensive line, a first-year play caller, and a first-year quarterback in that system. And he really didn't get going until later on in the year when they all kind of figured out what they were all best at. So, I mean, he was so much better later in the year than he was earlier in the season. He also rates among the top 3, I think, in football in broken tackles in space. And people like, well, he's not good within the tackles. Well, look, when there's no options, he was also 1.9 yards, I believe, before first contact, which was, I think, the lowest in the league, the worst in the league. So there's no holes for him to run through, and we're running into these stacked boxes in congested areas because Dave Canales liked to run with 2 tight end sets with an offensive with tight ends who couldn't block. Which it made no sense. You're just clogging up the area. There's nowhere to run. Let's see when this Liam Cohen offense, where they spread you out 3 wide, almost every there are a lot of 11 personnel, 3 wide, or even splitting the tight end out as well. And you've got so much more room to run, and he'll be able to make choices and use his vision and be able to make people miss in space. And so I think he's going to have a huge year. Whatever fantasy drafts you're having, I'd put Rachaad White in there. I don't know. Bucky Irving seems to be a really interesting piece, but we just don't know how he's going to fit into the offense, how he's going to kind of transition to the NFL. Running backs, it's hard. Running backs is kind of a lot like quarterbacks. You just don't know how they're going to assimilate into, and we've seen that in the NFL with higher drafted guys and even lower drafted guys. It's a crapshoot. The Bucs have not been a really good running back drafting team, but I think they got a winner in Rachaad White. Look, I'm not saying he's, a top 3 back in the league, but if you're asking me, is he an RB1? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yes.
I mean, it's just, that's not even a question.
It's a better blocking scheme here, and Cohen mentioned it just the other day. One key to an improved Bucs running game is diversity, not presenting just a single blocking scheme, but multiple looks to throw defenses off during games. That's kind of a shot at the offense last year in Dave Canales, and that's why you have to be so excited about this, JP, coming into this year. You won't have that transition period of somebody having to learn how to call plays. This guy's done it. He's been there before. He did it with the Rams. He had success. And then furthermore, he's exactly right. Changing up the looks. You give the same looks. We talked about it last year, right? On first down. What do? 2 yards in a cloud of dust. Byron Leftwich, 2 yards in a cloud of dust on first down.
And no imagination to the run game.
None.
Just like the same off, inside guard. When they put some imagination into the running game, when they did reverses and had some lighter boxes running from spread, I thought that was much better approach. But Liam Cohen has extensive experience with the Rams and with Kentucky, knowing exactly how to do this and knowing how to sequence plays, how to make certain plays look like other plays, and have it's a derivative of the Rams offense with Dave Canales. So there's a lot of same concepts. It just, if you call plays, how to sequence them. It's experience. It just, how it works. And, Dave I think he did a really, really good job given what he had. But, I think Liam Cohen's going to be much, much better. Much better.
Yeah. And then, of course, the line will be more improved. I mean, who'd you have there last year, left guard? Aaron Stinnie. I mean, he's nothing to write home about.
Or Matt Filer at the beginning was terrible.
He was look at Pro Football Focus, and he had a rookie at the right guard spot. I mean, it's going to be amazing. And I thought this started to happen. The momentum started to change, even with Stinnie taking over the left guard spot, which was an improvement over Filer, who, once again, I'm just going to mention it, was a stiff. Okay. The running game improved the second half of the year. The running game improved in that playoff sequence there. So you have to feel like Graham Barton's coming on that line there. You have some competition. You draft a kid there out of UTEP. He may be a part of this.
Elijah Klein. Yeah.
I mean, they're saying, what is it, glass eater or something? I mean, we've heard that with Edeke. Right.
Yeah, so you look at all the metrics on Elijah Klein. There's a lot of the O-line experts that have looked at his tape and really thought, he had a much higher grade than going in the 6th round. Smaller school. He's got good size. He goes, 6'4", 315.
Yep.
I'll be interested to see. He'll be battling for that left guard job. And if he wins it, I think it's a good sign that he's a good young talent. And by the way, Cody Mauch has put on considerable weight. I saw him at the All-Stott event, and he looks considerably bigger, and he needed to get bigger. So he adds a little bit weight. His athleticism, hopefully he holds on to that. I think he will. And you add you had at least 15, 20 pounds more and more athleticism in Graham Barton at the center position. And then let the guys fight it out. Opeta has impressed a lot of people, the free agent they got. So I think the interior line is going to be vastly improved, and that'll certainly help Rashad White. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I want to go out to this. The Athletics' Mike Sando talked with two executives who praised the Bucs for taking Graham Barton in the first round, basically being in the anchor for the next decade. They say if Graham Barton is going to be the starting center for 10 to 12 years, how do you not do it? Was Frank Ragnow a bad pick for the Lions? No. Barton is a really nice high floor player. They've done a nice job building the offensive line. That's what it's about. You got to get back to that. People talk about Brady. People talk about Evans and Godwin and Brown. But at the end of the day, if you don't have Ali Marpet and Tristan Wirfs coming in that year at the right tackle spot, and Donovan Smith, the human turnstile, actually playing up to his level of play, even though he's won the last 2 Super Bowls, but it's almost like OJ getting away with murder with all the holes that he had for the Chiefs the last couple years. I mean, that was the key. The offensive line.
You hate that guy.
I'm sorry, I'm not a fan. He's right up there with Jose Siri when it comes to effort. And even Bruce Arians, put this out there. When this guy is going with proper technique and he's able to play within his game instead of knock the hell out of somebody, and didn't say hell, he said the other word there. He's a better player. When he wants to knock the snuff out of somebody, he loses technique, and that's when you have the holds and stuff like that. And then on top of it, I felt like ever since he won the Super Bowl, he was one of those players that Todd Bowles was mentioning, like a Devin White, who's his effort is not there. You're living on the laurels there of a Super Bowl win. That's why
I would agree with that. Yeezy says, imagine if Baker was allowed to audible out of stacked boxes. Shad could have had much better numbers. Agreed. And Liam said the other day that he hopes to get like 3 different plays for him to go to. Yeah. And when he comes to the line, he'll have 3 different plays depending on what he sees from the defense. Nathan Elliott says Rashad White is an RB1, over 1,700 total yards and almost 1,000 yards rushing the ball. The Bucs did not force Kayvon on the field, then he would have had his 1,000 yards rushing. Yeah, but you can't give him too many touches. You got to be able to break it up to keep Rashad fresh. Yeah, he probably would have got 1,000, but even 1,000 yards now in a 17-game season, what does that really mean in terms of a mark? It's just, to me, it's overall yards from scrimmage. That's a much better barometer. Yeah. Mike Evans is in Tampa, first time in a long time. He has been with the team this early. That's true. We mentioned that yesterday. He's doing the off-season workouts already, and they've got great attendance there. And why? Because they got a new offense, and he wants to learn it, and he wants to be at his best. Sure. Because he's a pro. That's why. Yeah.
I'll throw this out there.
He's no Keyshawn Johnson, I could tell you that.
Well, he's not. And how about the Tom Brady effect, right? I mean, when Tom comes to town and everybody, Tom's gone. He's been gone here. No, that's a Tom Brady effect because you learn how to be a professional. Right. And you remember when Tom came here, whether it's a pandemic or not, you're learning a new offense. That's the kind of stuff there. That's the reason why you pick up Tom Brady, because you learn how to be a professional. Mike Evans has always been a professional wide receiver, but he's gotten that much better from the experience of Brady coming to town in the first place.
No, I totally agree. James Flash Ludeman coming on says, I was a bat boy for some games at Al Lang once, and BJ Upton gave me a pair of cleats. He saw mine and said they were terrible.
That's how he became the Flash, because he got those cleats from BJ. Boy, BJ had a run there for that 2008 World Series team, and then he kind of fell off a little bit.
He did. Nathan also says that the Bucs had Jordan Whitehead last year over and not Ryan Neal, they would have won 11 games. Yes. Yeah. God, that guy was terrible.
By the way, number 3 for Jordan Whitehead. How do you feel about that? The old Jameis Winston number. Is that a curse? Do we say that's a curse, or are we going to stick with Juju?
You know me. I'm not a uniform guy. I don't think any of that stuff means squat.
No superstition.
Nah. If he wants 3, wear 3. That's the one he likes. Like what? Because Jameis wore it.
Jameis did wear 3. Remember.
So somehow it's cursed.
I don't know.
Stop.
30 for 30.
Thomas Casper says pandering is a forbidden woke term. I used pandering many times. Is it?
Wow,
is it really?
I have no idea what's forbidden. When it comes to
woke, do I care? No,
I go to sleep and I hear woke.
In fact, if I hear that, I'll use it even more.
Pandering.
Yes. The Rays are pandering. They've been pandering for quite some time. what else did I want to get on here?
Look at this. Look at this. I used to call TJ when he was with Bay News 9.
Yes.
Wow.
Remember, we used to have call-ins to TV, which is, by the way, it's not good. Live TV, like the half hour. Remember that shows? I mean, that's tough. You got a tough timeline in that. You got to move quickly, and you got people coming on and that don't know how to necessarily make their points in a very concise way. So it can get very.
Yes.
This is way back, another way back story for you. This is 1987.
Wow.
I was working at one of my first TV jobs in Jackson, Mississippi. And there was used to do all these coaches shows for the SWAC, was the historically black universities. And there was this coach for Southern University, Marino Chasm. And the dude was big. He was an offensive lineman, and he was a big, big man. He's big. And he would sit there in the studio on his chair, and the host was there, and they're like, all right, let's go to Jack in Meridian. And this guy comes on and he goes, yo, Marino, why you such a F? Why you just such a fat? And
oh man.
And you're like, yeah, they had no delay, it's like turn it off.
Yeah.
And he starts going off on the guy.
The inspiration for the sports web was Sports Rap with Ted Webb.
Yeah.
Which at the time I think it was 90 or 90.
In your format, and not this format, you can take calls because we got 2 hours, and we can in sports radio, you got longer format. A half-hour TV show, I think it's a little, it's a little ambitious. So next week when TJ comes on, we'll talk about some of the calls that he would get live on TV, because that's a whole nother. I did a lot of that stuff too. That is a whole nother animal, man.
Yeah.
You have no idea what's where it's coming from.
I'll tell you what, I'll throw this out there. If we could get out to Buck's training camp, we have the JP Peterson show. We take phone calls and we go live at the same time. I think that would be awesome. Who's doing that? Huh?
Yeah.
Nobody's doing that.
Yeah, if we could, yeah. We'll see. We'll see if we can do it. I'll throw it out there. You never know.
Throw it out.
Tomorrow, we're going to be hoping to be. I'm doing the CEO luncheon tomorrow. Going to interview Brian Glazer for the CEO luncheon tomorrow. So the owner of the Buccaneers. So we'll have some interesting comments from him. So that'll be after the show. I'm going to try to do the show live from there from 10 to 11:30, because then I got to get to that event. So if I'm there, it'll be much easier. And then we'll have some people on from the event. This is the plan anyway. We'll see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And then and hopefully we'll have some of the comments from Brian that we can bring to you on the Friday show. So Brian Glazer is going to be at the CEO Council meeting tomorrow. And I'll be interviewing him, and we got some interesting questions for him that I'm looking forward to his responses as to what's going on with certain issues with the Buccaneers. So look forward to that. Also, we got the Tampa Sports Club Hall of Fame inductions coming up on June 5th at Higgins Hall. There are still a few tables open. I believe this is going to be a historic night with Titus O'Neil going in, Steve Spurrier going in, Bruce Arians, Aaron Andrews. I'm leaving somebody out. Bobby Diaz, couple others. Forgive me for leaving some out, but we got a lot of big names going in. So we're going to get them on the program in the coming weeks. But Tampa Sports Club of Tampa Bay, just Google it. You'll get to the page where you can sign up for your table. But it's going to be, as I said, a historic night. All of the recipients are going to be there, except for Aaron, I believe. I'm not sure. Aaron Andrews has some other issues going on, but she's trying to get here. So it's going to be a really, really fun, magical night. So if you love Tampa Bay sports as we do, it's going to be a really, really fun night. And Peter, I'll have you there with your camera as well, so we can capture all the great speeches.
Okay.
And you can enjoy this fun night. So that's going to be June 5th. I'll be lucky enough to MC that as well. So looking forward to both these events coming up. So we'll do that tomorrow on tomorrow's program. All right, we'll take a quick break here. Come back on the other side. Get to the Kucherov stuff, the Ric Flair thing. I want to get to that as well, and any other talk a little NBA too. If you saw the games last night, boy, the officiating has been bad, but there have been some incredible performances. And I tell you what, the LeBron era, the KD era, the James Harden era, it is over. The young guns are taking over, and I think that's a good thing. So we'll talk about that when we come back. Extravaganza Productions, one of our great sponsors. We implore you to use them if you have an event coming up, whether it's a business event, a birthday, graduation, you want to throw a big party, or a small party. They'll do any budget you got. Extravaganzaproductions.com. Reach them through there. They'll give you a free creative meeting if you mention the JP Peterson Show. You can go on there, go in there, tour their warehouse, see all their great props, come up with a great creative idea for your event. Use the pros. Extravaganza Productions, best in the business. Back in 3. Are you looking to be more productive and healthier? Do you know chronic dehydration affects your overall health and well-being? 75% of the U.S. population suffers from dehydration, and many of us don't even know it. That was me before I was introduced to Hydrate Heroes. 8 times the benefits with hydration. A beverage with benefits more than just hydration. That's right, 8 times the benefits with hydration. Hydrate Heroes provides a refreshing, great-tasting beverage powder to mix with water, providing elderberry, zinc, vitamin D, electrolytes, amla fruit, which provides a great source of vitamin C, along with a proprietary mushroom blend that has shown to help increase endurance and energy at the cellular level. Hydrate Heroes is so confident you're going to love the taste and the results. They are offering our listeners a special offer, a free 3-pack sample, no credit card needed. Just go to the jppetersonshow.com, the jppetersonshow.com, and click on Hydrate Heroes logo. Hydrate for health today with Hydrate Heroes.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset, so make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance, because if you get sued in this over-litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative, Charity, is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance.
JP here for Extravaganza Productions. You know, I've worked with these pros on so many big and small events. They recently did the Kappa Alpha Psi Grand Reunion, the Tampa RV Show Exhibit. They did the Skills Center opening of Tampa Bay. They can do those small events. They do the biggest of events. So if you were thinking about planning a meeting or special event, call the talented staff at Team EPI. They will give you a free creative meeting if you mention the JP Peterson Show. They will provide you with an exceptional experience. Heck, they'll even show you their huge warehouse with great props. Anything you want. They'll do it on time and on budget. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we roll on this Hump Day Wednesday. If you guys want to jump aboard, you can give us a call. Yeah, you want to give them the numbers there, partner?
Yeah, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's the JP Peterson Show.
Wanted to talk a little bit about Nikita Kucherov, who is now up for the MVP, the Hart Trophy that he won in 2018 and 2019. Ed Encina did a really good piece yesterday talking about the pluses and minuses, and statistically, you look at what Kucherov did. It was an incredible year based on so many numbers for him. You look at he scored 50. And by the way, this is the guy most valuable to his team. I mean, Kucherov carried this team into the playoffs, and not a crappy team, but carried them into the playoffs, right? He scored 34% of his 44 goals during a 20-game stretch to open the season when Vasi was out. And the midpoint of the season, when the Lightning were in danger of missing the playoffs, Kucherov propelled them to the postseason with 77 points, including 61 assists in 41 second-half games. I mean, that's just a ridiculous number. And when you start looking at it historically, these numbers, he's one of only two players, Lemieux and Gretzky, I'm trying to find this number, that had over 100 assists and 40 goals. I mean, that's historic numbers.
Amazing.
He played a role in nearly half, 49% of the Lightning's goals. His point total was 54 points higher than Tampa Bay's next player. And Kucherov owned at least a share of the league's scoring lead for 129 days. And you got to remember, this is on a team that was retooled because of the salary cap in many ways, right? So he's not going to, the teams that McKinnon and McDavid were on were better teams overall. I think that you can look at that as an argument for them or against them. I think Kucherov just stood out in those particular ways. Now in plus minus, both McKinnon and McDavid were plus 35 and Kucherov was plus 8, but he was also on the ice for 16 empty net goals that the Lightning allowed, which of course, Cooper pulls the goalie earlier than anybody. We had more empty net goals, I think, than anybody than anybody in the league. So that's a significant difference, but the plus minus is also significant. So to say that, some of these other players might be better defensively is true. There's no question about that. And that could hurt him. The worst part is the guys that vote for this, the writers, they're typically skew towards some of the bigger names and bigger markets. And I know, Colorado, maybe not the biggest market. It's not an original six, but McDavid and McKinnon just held in a different regard than Kucherov. And I think also his all-star shenanigans, which are, that's just should not be factored in this in any way. And the fact that Kucherov is a bit of a brooding player when it comes to the media, etc. A lot of these guys that vote for this get butthurt and don't vote for him because of that. And I think that's ridiculous and it's insane. And I hope all of these votes are made public. So we'll see where this goes. But I think by the criteria of most valuable to his team and the historic numbers that he put up, I don't think there's any question. I think there's a question. I think it'll be a tight race, but I think he'll win. And just judging by the national sentiment, I heard some of the guys talk about it last night on the broadcast, the national guys, and I think most of them come down for Kucherov. And point, I know Messier said Kucherov. I'm trying to think of who else was on the dais last night, but I think it was almost unanimous that they said Kucherov. So let's hope he gets it. I think he deserves it without question.
Yeah, and I just retweeted it out there from FanStream Sports DSP Media from the Twitter there. Do you agree with what JP is saying? Kucherov should be the MVP. Again, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391.
Yeah, and this is correct. He was just announced as a Ted Lindsay finalist as well. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think the Lightning are going to be sweeping awards like they did back in the halcyon days of the Cup teams, but I'm still very bullish on his team. I think a full year of Vasi being healthy, Sergei being healthy, and the Stamkos deal, is it going to – I think he stays. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think the offer that's made to him is probably in the $5.5 to $6 million range over 3 to 4 years. I think that's fair, and I think that's worthy of where Stamkos should be. And are there going to be other offers that will total 10 to 12 million more over the life of it? Probably, but is that worth moving your family and being in a different sweater, which just takes on a whole different legacy tone to it? I think he'll stay, and I think when he polls his family, they certainly move to Utah,
right?
I've heard, he's going to take big money to go to Utah. I'm like, what?
Why?
No.
Why would you want to live in Utah over Tampa Bay? I'm sorry.
Why would you want to play for that? I mean, I know the Coyotes are kind of a little bit a young emerging team, but come on, man.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know what? Can you imagine if you're Steven Stamkos? Think about this too, because you're going to be leaving this core behind that you've led. And what if they bring, if they're able to use that money and bring in, somebody who wants to be here, who's of the superstar ilk, or in that second tier, and you're going to sit there and watch the Lightning win another cup without you. You don't want any part of that.
No,
you don't want any part of that.
No.
So I know you got to swallow your pride a little bit. I think the Lightning, as much as I love Steven Stamkos, I think Julien Brisebois swallowed hard and did the right thing. He didn't have the information that he needed to sign Stamkos to an extension moving forward at the beginning of last year, because he didn't know where the cap was going. He didn't know how certain players were going to play. He needed more information, and to stay true to the long-term future of this team. That was a tough decision for Julien Brisebois. I'm sure it was. And I'm sure he didn't want to piss off Stamkos. And, when somebody says, well, Stamkos deserves it. Well, deserves is a relative term. If you're playing in a salary cap league, you can't pay for past performance. You can't, it's not, if it's baseball, fine. But if it's football or hockey or, to some degree, the NBA, because theirs is a softer cap, more manipulative. Yeah. The NHL cap is a hard cap. It really is. And it's hard to circumvent. And, I just think Stammer would do himself a huge disservice if he were to leave.
Agree. I'm going to go out to Rick here. The Rays are pandering and panhandling.
As always.
Let's go out to Yees. JP, please ask him for a tarp over Ray J. That would be Mr. Glazer there. And he says, I'll pitch.
You want me to hit him with the drone tarp idea?
Right. Go ahead. Go for it. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean,
I gotta make a note. I gotta reach out to him.
Write it down. There you go.
I gotta reach out to my engineering friends. Like, can we get this done?
Lee says Kuch deserves it, but we know it's going to be probably McKinnon or McDavid. Unfortunately, I mean, that's kind of the stigma, if you will, when it comes to the Lightning, the Rays, the Bucks, Tampa Bay sports in general from the national media never gets the respect they deserve. Do you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. It wouldn't shock me. Like I said, the media can hold grudges, and they can pick the different numbers that they want to choose and use the plus minus against Kucherov. I totally get that. But that's not fair. I think when the other part of it is we watch Kucherov, right? We watch him every game. We see the magic. Now, by the way, this is regular season only. So his playoff dud will not be factored in to the NHL MVP voting or Hart Trophy voting. So, and that, we've seen that. So we the jury might feel a little different about Kucherov right now than we did at the end of the regular season, right? I think it's only natural because you wanted him to lead that team to a first round win over the Panthers, and he was not at his best. And that's being fair. So I think, and they have to get their votes in before the regular season is over. I mean, right at the end of the regular season before the playoffs start. So they can't even subconsciously use that stuff.
Yeah, and I think it also plays into the part of it where you lose Vasilevsky for a period of time. You do have some major injuries, and here's a player that's stepped up tremendously. He's done so many things. You put out the statistics there with points and scoring goals. I mean, it's just unbelievable year by Kucherov. It's a shame it's over with, and it's a shame about his performance because as a Bolts fan, you have that bad taste in your mouth. You kind of forget how great that regular season was, but we all know regular season really doesn't count, and it is a different season when you get to the post. Let's go out to Jordan. I believe Hetty and Stamkos extensions will be announced in conjunction, and both will be before July 1st and out to talk.
I agree.
Put it to bed, I guess that's what he said, I believe. Okay, so, and then Jordan again, I envision Chernak and Tony getting moved since both of them do not have a no move clause currently. It gives the Bolts an out. How do How do you remake this Lightning team? Because I've talked to some friends about this. Maybe you make a big move. Maybe you trade a Braden Point. You try to get younger defensively. Do you do that? Do you ruin your core? Or do you continue to try to build around? See, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to do that. Even though you were eliminated once again in the first round, I'm not ready to call it a day.
Listen, developing chemistry in a winning culture is such a hard thing to do. So you can replace, a 40-goal guy with another 40-goal guy. It's not going to be, how does that chemistry work with the new guy coming in? How does it work with the guys on the ice? I just don't think that it's a good idea. You never know what you're getting back.
Yeah.
Blowing things. Well, we need to blow it up. But why? Because you fell a little short this year. I mean, I think the Panthers have a great shot of winning it all. I was shocked that Boston was able to beat them in the first game the way they did. But I think you stick with the core and you build around the core. And you try to add some extra pieces and get those depth pieces, because every team's going to get hit by the salary cap. It's going to start affecting Colorado. It's going to start affecting the Panthers. It's our time to go through that. And we're, trying to fill those bottom two lines with those guys and figure it out. So, we'll have another chance to do it next year. We hope, hopefully Vasi will be healthy. He'll have a better offseason where he's not training as hard. Hopefully Kuch comes back and has another great year. Hedman was really good this year. He's top 5 in scoring among defensemen. Stamkos had another 40-goal season. I just don't. If you blow it up, you don't know what you're getting back. You just don't. There's no guarantees, and there's probably a likelihood that you're not going to get back a better team. So I say keep pushing the envelope as long as you can with this core, and then when it becomes ridiculously obvious that the core is too old, and I don't think we're there yet. Vasi's still in his prime. Kuch is still in his prime. Hedman may be, on the back 9, but it might be it's 12. It's not 17.
Right.
Same with Stamkos. He's not close. He's not near the end.
Yeah.
He's kind of made the turn. I think he's at 12 too. But they've got a lot of golf left in their careers, so to speak. And I don't mean golf in terms of the off season. I mean, as a metaphor, I think these guys still got it. Yeah. And their chemistry is great. And just add a couple of pieces. Some of these young kids get better. Lilleberg and Crozier, I think, are a great pair for the future defensively. Getting Sergei back healthy for a whole season is a big, big deal.
Huge.
So let's just chill a little bit. I know we're there's every other team in this league would love to have what the Lightning have put together over the past 7-8 years or 10 years. So, and we're used to winning cups. You go out in the first round 2 years in a row. I get it, but don't get fooled. This team is still a really, really good hockey team, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, let's take our final break. When we come back, we'll debate the Ric Flair thing. Go look it up on my Twitter if you want, at FanStreamJP. Watch the video. And did drunk Ric Flair go too far?
When does he not go too far? That's the question. I love him, but
isn't that the whole part of the shtick, right?
Yeah, the nature boy. No.
The nature boy. Woo!
Woo!
Yeah. All right, we're brought to you by the great folks at Hydrate Heroes. Go to tryhydrateheroes.com. Tryhydrateheroes.com. That's HEROES. It gets your free 3-pack sample. Just sign up right there, and they'll send it to you, and you'll find out what I've been telling you. It tastes great. It has all the benefits and none of the bad stuff, none of the sugars. It's vegan friendly. It's keto friendly, all that good stuff. And only 5 calories per serving, not 200 like some of those other hydration drinks. HydrateHeroes.com. Back in 3. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man, Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808. Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset, so make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance because if you get sued in this over-litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative, Charity, is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we wrap things up here on a Hump Day Wednesday with Peter Blake.
Yes, I got your sound effect right there. Absolutely. And again, just talking sports here in the Tampa Bay area. If you want to join us, still got some time, guys. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's the JP Peterson Show.
All right, back to some of the comments here. Our good friend Paul Thomason from Extravaganza Production says a winning team has what I call a mystic. Only a few teams really have it, and it takes years to develop, just like any great band, etc. That's a great analogy, Paul, to a band. It's so true. You just have a bond. Every championship team I've covered, and I've covered many of them, has that. That you go back to the University of Florida, back-to-back champions. Those guys, Horford and Noah and Brewer, all those guys, they were so tight for so many years. They all came back their senior year and forego the NBA. That's what the tight-knit group, the 02 Bucks, man, Allstott, Lynch and Barber. And so those guys hung out together. They were always together. They loved each other. There was a special bond. The 04 Lightning with Marty, Brad and Vinny were best of friends growing up, and Marty came in. They had a great, and Andrew Truck is the leader. They had a great chemistry about them. You could say the same thing of the 20 and 21 Cups. You just feel those. The FSU teams that I covered that were national champions with Derek Brooks in the 93 team and Charlie Ward and Kevin Knox and all those guys still to this day, best of friends, and the Lightning just have that. They've got that vibe, and it means a lot. It really does mean a lot because you travel with each other, you're constantly around each other. And if there's some ill will or jealousies and you're pulling in the opposite directions, I've seen that too, a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's not good. And, and if you extend the metaphor there to good bands, the bands that stay together a long time because they like each other, and the ones that, just can't stand each other, like the Beatles, that break up. Yeah. You got to have that chemistry, or it's not going to sound good. It's not going to look good. You're not going to play good. So. No,
Guns N' Roses comes to mind. What could have been if they would have stayed together for a little bit. Van Halen, not Van.
Too many egos, jealousies, want to be the star. That never works. in bands or on teams.
Metallica, I mean, they were able to overcome some departures, but their core has been able to stay together. How about the Rolling Stones? They're still playing. Kiss, they're on like their 6th or 700th retirement tour there. They're never going anywhere until they probably die on stage. I mean, you're exactly right. There are some bands that can hang and some bands that can't. And, hopefully this Lightning band can hang together. You just have to make some changes, maybe, change the bass player up a little bit, change the drummer, improve it, get a little bit younger, some young blood in there, man. That's good. It's what Metallica did.
But it's got to be the right people. You got to bring in the right people. You don't want to upset the balance.
Yes.
Jordan G says, I love Rick. Now I see why the bartender keep him around, and also see why he has regular spots and shouldn't go to new ones, even for a granddaughter's graduation. Stick to the pearl, Rick.
There you go.
American Social.
That's embarrassing. That's an embarrassing
for him. You think? I mean, first, do you know why he got pissed off? So he went. I guess he's got some intestinal issues. He's an 80-year-old man, right?
Right.
So he went into the bathroom, and it was like, the kitchen manager met him at the door, and the kitchen manager, I guess, said he was going into the one stall that was at the restaurant. And then while Rick was waiting, he could either hear him or see him texting. Like while you're, when somebody's waiting, you can't be, texting or doom scrolling on your phone. If you're the only freaking stall, take care of your business and move on.
Exactly.
Let the nature boy.
Come on.
Man's got to use the nature thing, So right away, I think, and then the manager was like, "Why were you a peeping Tom? Were you looking through the cracks to see if he was like texting? How did you know he was texting?" I'm like, "Oh my God, what are we doing here?
We are there again.
Do your business. Get the hell out of there. Don't be texting when people are waiting. That's rude."
Right.
So then, Flair's already half in the bag, or maybe all in the bag, judging from that video.
he's definitely all in the bag. I mean, and
some of the back and forth in that video, though, is just
it's kind of interesting. But there have been rumors about Rick around town partying, and that's what he's doing. He's living his best life. But I don't know if you caught this story. Also, the last wrestling match he had, which was with his son-in-law, which is Andrade, who's now in WWE. And of course, WWE has kind of distanced themselves from Flair. He's now part of AEW. But they had a match with Jeff Jarrett and, of course, Jay Lethal. And it comes out that he had a heart attack. And people were saying, look, Rick.
Who had a heart attack?
Ric Flair. Ric Flair had a heart attack. He suffered a heart attack. Like, you should not have this match. It's a bad idea. And it wasn't a great match. And there comes a time, like we talk about bands, we talk about teams, being at the dance too long. Flair is there. He's been there.
If you as a wrestling consumer were thinking that Ric Flair was going to give you a good match at 100 years old, that's on you.
Right.
That's on you. If he shows up and gets in the ring, that's all you get.
Right.
Like, what did you expect him to do? The flying Melinda off the top rope, whatever the hell that
well, he's always doing that. He's always the guy that goes into the ring rope there, tries to get on the top rope and gets thrown off. I mean, that's happened. It's like 4 moves of doom for Ric Flair.
We're not doing that anymore. If you're expecting that,
right. He's not doing any more than 4 moves, but it was just a bad idea. And then on top of it, I don't know if you ever saw Dark Side of the Ring. They did the plane ride from hell, and there was a lot of stuff that came out that Vince and WWE, of course, surprise, Vince McMahon hiding things from the past there with Ric Flair, and it's there's a really dirty underbelly of wrestling. I mean, if you don't know that, you're just fooling yourself. And Ric Flair, look, Rick, when you look at the video, he's drunk. And he also says to the one girl, put $1,000 tip on there, while the other guy's being a jerk to him. Right.
And, I don't necessarily condone some of the stuff that Rick said, but to me, it was kind of funny. The whole thing was funny. And in the end, he's giving him $1,000 tip. If he's being a little bit of an obnoxious jerk,
sure.
You know what? Be obnoxious to me and give me $1,000 tip. I'll laugh it off.
I'll take $1,000 tip. Can somebody give me $1,000 tip? Wow. Yes.
Yeah, I don't. I think and I looked at the comments. And they're like, "Oh, drunk old dude, stop! You're being rude. You're titled and all this other stuff. Rich guy entitlement." I didn't see any of that. The guy. Listen, the guy, and then one of the guys at the bar is like, because then Rick's like to the bar guy that's throwing him out. It's like, then you want to go outside and settle.
Like, I'll put you in a big forelock. Woo! Yeah, exactly. Give me a.
I mean, have you seen Ric Flair lately?
Oh.
I mean, come on. You'd kill him. Even that scrawny ass bartender should be able to. And then some guy at the bar is like, "I'll go outside with you. Come on." He didn't look like a menacing figure at all.
No.
And I'm like, okay, you guys. So now you're going to go beat up. How old is he? 80 something?
I thought he was 73. I thought 73.
73.
Yeah, maybe he's older than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on now.
Him and Hogan, man, that's the Mount Rushmore of wrestling. They're still alive and kicking. You haven't seen Hogan in years in a ring. Thank God for that, because like you said, you know what you're gonna get. But damn, Ric Flair, he's gotten into the ring a little bit lately with Sting. Sting retired. Sting 60. That's how old we are. I remember Sting coming out for WCW on Saturday night. He just retired at 60 years old. He retired at 60.
I just saw Sting with Billy Joel.
Well,
he's still going.
Have to say, well, actually, Sting the wrestler owns that name over the singer. Did you know that?
How is that possible?
That's a smart guy. That's a smart businessman right there. Like that's his name. It's not Sting the singer. It's Sting the wrestler. So look at this right here. Dark Side of the Ring on Vice is absolutely epic television, produced by Tampa's own Chris Jericho, who has.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Where do you see that? Where is it?
It's on Vice. If you go to certain places like YouTube, you can see it. They got all kinds of stories. There's a story on Macho Man and Elizabeth, Lex Luger, the Grahams, of course, locally here. They just had Saturday night, Black Saturday, where Vince takes over WCW and WTBS at the time on a Saturday, where he actually takes over and is playing WWE programming that day, which is you can't do that. You're not supposed to do that, and he was able to do that. So there you go.
Wow, I didn't know all that stuff.
Yes. Well, we talk about this Turnbuckle Talk on the Sports Web on Wednesday nights about 10:20. We talk wrestling, and it's local and it's hot right now. You got Cody Rhodes, Dusty and Ric Flair. That was the first match you watched in 1988 at the St. Pete Bayfront Center. That was must see television at the time.
Yeah. No, God, you look back on that now. Yeah, that was an epic match right there.
Yeah. So
Stu just invited Ric Flair to the owner's box at the Rays game.
Well, did Ric Flair? He was supposed to announce the picks for the Bucks. Where was he? Was he in that bar at the time? Was he getting sloshed? I mean, was
he supposed to do that? What happened?
I don't know. I have no idea. I thought William Golston come out and announce the picks, but where was Ric Flair? He was supposed to come out and announce one of the picks in the third round, I thought.
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess he was busy.
Yeah, busy, all right. Busy partying. Yeah.
Did you watch it? You watch any of the NBA last night? You're probably busy doing the show.
I did not. I heard about it, but I didn't. I watched the Orlando Magic game. I could not believe they blew an 18-point lead on Sunday. They had two games, JP. They had an opportunity to win in Game 5. They had a chance to win that one. And then you can't blow an 18-point lead. I get it. You're a young team at the end of the day, but Ben Caro, 38 points, lights out. I mean, that's the future of the Magic. You got to get maybe a veteran presence. Is a Paul George. We talked about Klay Thompson on this show. Is a Paul George a guy that you're interested in, or do you continue to go young and draft?
I think that if the Magic have the cap room, they need to add a veteran of some sort to help out Ben Caro and be able to score in the clutch. Because they just when Franz Wagner is your number 2, and he completely just shrank in the moment. He just so they just have to be deeper. They got to have somebody like I don't know who
Well, you got to get a facilitator. You got to maybe a Malik Monk from Charlotte. He's 26 years old.
Yeah, maybe.
He can facilitate his own shot. He can shoot the three. That's what you have to have. You have to have perimeter shooting. You mentioned Klay, but the points are going down every year. He's getting up there in age. Would he really leave Golden State? Yeah, I always think of what the Magic did. They were ready to go with Shaq and Penny. What do they do? Well, you go after Horace Grant. You got to pay him the money. Why? Because that's the final piece that maybe gets you over the top. Could this be the year with Banchero and what he did in the postseason during the season? Because he's only going to get better. And you talk about it, Wagner, he's a guy you could build around, but you still need somebody that not only can facilitate their shot at the point guard position, but also shoot from the perimeter.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes good. They definitely need to add somebody, though. I think a more veteran who can get his own shot in those and take up the slack for some of the young guys who just didn't post in the key moments. Luka Doncic last night was not good. Held to 19.6 of 19 as the Thunder just destroyed the Mavs 117-95. Two best teams I've seen in these playoffs: the Timberwolves and the Thunder.
Yeah, the
days of LeBron James and Kevin Durant and James Harden running this league, Steph Curry, are over. They're over. Yeah, this is Ant-Man's league. These young kids are they're fantastic, and I love it. And I think it's great for the game. And I'm gonna bet I think the Timberwolves are gonna win the title.
I think you're right about that, especially with what maybe the best player in the league right now, and Ant-Man. You talk about it.
He's so good.
He is
so good.
He really is good, and that team is.
He's fun too. I love the way he plays, smile on his face, and just like he plays with energy and emotion, and just incredible talent as well.
And look what they're doing into the defending champion Denver Nuggets. I mean, just domination the last two games. Amazing stuff. Yeah.
All right, we got Pacers and Knicks tonight. Knicks lead 1-0. That was a great game one. That's 8:00 on TNT. Boston and Florida game 2. Boston took game 1 5-1. That's 7:30. 10:00. Edmonton and Vancouver game 1 of that one. And of course, we got the Rays. That day game or tonight? When are they playing?
Night game 6:50.
6:50. All right, try to sweep the White Sox. Great job, Peter Blake. Thanks to TJ Reese for joining us. If you missed anything, go listen to the podcast on Apple, Spotify. You can always go back and watch it on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever you like. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow live from the CEO Council. See you then.